Good morning, esteemed viewers. This is the News Hour on Eco TV International with me, your presenter Isatou Janneh. Now to the headlines. New VP and CDS rumors quashed. Classroom shortage hits UTJ as Gambia College begins exams. NAMS urged not to sell dignity to President Barrow. GPU condemns verbal attack on journalist Panderi Turi. 222 million second phase rice distribution scheme at standstill. Welcome back from that short break, and now to the news in detail. New VP and CDS rumors quashed. As the country awaits the much expected cabinet and government reshuffles, the rumor mill is spinning with the news about purported appointments in the cabinet and elsewhere. Over the last few days, social media was filled with reports that a former Speaker of the National Assembly and top APRC official Fatmata Jahumba Cisse is to be appointed Vice President, while former Chief Army Lantombon Tamba is to return as CDS. Other rumors said former Foni Councillor Nam Musa Amul Nyasi is to become the new governor of West Coast region. There were also reports that at least 3 former Nams, Sekuba Jaju, Seku Marong, and Alhaji Jawara, are to be appointed into the Gambia's diplomatic service. The Standard yesterday sought confirmation from the authorities and the individuals themselves. A senior government official said the identity of the new cabinet is not expected until the end of month, and only President Barrow can tell who is in the list. As Musa Amul Nyasi, the former Foni Councillor Nam, said, he has not been given any appointment letter, and all that has been said is just mere hearsay. The former Nam of Latrikunda, Seku Marong too, said he is not aware of him being appointed in the diplomatic service and cannot also confirm that of his colleagues. A presidential advisor contacted by the Standard said he has no knowledge about any such appointments, adding that those matters are only handled by the president. The only thing that I can confirm are the nominations of Fabakary Tombong Jatta and others to the National Assembly, Dudu said. The Standard also contacted Lantombon Tamba, who said he hasn't been notified of any appointment, while Fatmata Jahumba Cisse is said to be out of the country. Classroom shortage hits UTG as Gambia College begins exams. The University of the Gambia's Brikama campus is faced with shortage of classrooms as the Gambia College starts exams in designated classrooms for UTJ. The UTJ Brikama campus uses the Gambia College classrooms that belongs to the Gambia College in Bajankoto, including MRC Holland and public health classrooms, amongst others, to have lectures. Speaking to Forea, many students lament that they have to roam the entire campus in search of empty classes to conduct their lectures because the Gambia College is on exams. On Tuesday, the classroom allocated for the course I registered was occupied by the students of the Gambia College, and whenever they have their exams, we have to go out and start roaming in search of classrooms to use. This is frustrating because it makes me feel exhausted before the lecturer even starts. Amadou Mane, a third-year student, told the reporter. The political science student said UTG virtually has no classrooms and are at the mercy of the Gambia College. I witnessed this many times now. We can only have classes as long as the Gambia College is not using them because we do not have enough of our own classrooms, he said. Mariama Dabo, another political science student, said since the Gambia College started exams, they have to search for empty classrooms whenever they are supposed to have lectures at the Gambia College campus. Whenever the Gambia College starts exams, we always move about in search of empty classrooms to use. Some lecturers have even started suggesting that we move to the Faraba campus to conduct our classes, she said. She said the students lose significant amount of time going in search of classrooms to use, and this can affect them during their exams. Mbaimane, also a political science student, said classroom shortage at the UTG has been an ongoing problem at the university because various classes collide with others of the Gambia College. To make matters worse, during college exams, certain classrooms are occupied by college students, and when this happens, our class will either be cancelled or we will find another venue for our lectures, he said. Mane said UTG students face the issues of finding other venues or cancel lectures because they use the Gambia College campus and have to vacate their classrooms whenever college students are on exams. Other UTG students expressed similar remarks about the shortage of classrooms caused by the current exams at the Gambia College. NAMS urged not to sell dignity to Barrow. Lamin Mane, a defeated parliamentary aspirant for Sanimentran constituency, has called on the new members, especially the independent NAM, not to betray their electorates by selling their dignity to President Adama Barrow. Speaking to the Standard in reaction to the recent elections, Mr. Mane, who is also a Secretary General of the Gambia Federation of the Disabled, said there should no longer be any brand envelope NAMs, as was in the case of the past legislature. The National Assembly members who cross-carpeted to the president were taught a lesson by the electorate, and this is why most of them lost their seats. So the incoming one should learn from that. GPU condemns verbal attack on journalist Panderi Toure. The Gambia Press Union has condemned the verbal attack on the person of journalist Panderi Toure of Star FM Radio and said comments made by Isatou Dabo, the leader of UDP, describing the Star FM talk show host as someone who dislikes his party and members of the Mandinka ethnic group, was unnecessary and unwarranted from the political leader. The GPU said they condemned in the strongest terms the actions of the UDP leader and urged all politicians and leaders of political parties to desist from such rhetoric that can incite their supporters either physically or verbally assaulting journalists or target them. Below is the full text of the GPU statement on the incident. Fajara 16, April 2022. The Gambia Press Union is concerned by comments made by Isatou Dabo, the leader of the UDP, describing a Star FM talk show host as someone who dislikes his party and members of the Mandinka ethnic group. Mr. Dabo also accused journalist Panderi Toure of trying to cause divisions in his United Democratic Party as he addressed the new UDP National Assembly members at his house along Kairaba Avenue on Friday, April 15, 2022. The GPU condemns in the strongest terms the action of the UDP leader. Dabo and all other politicians are being urged to desist from such rhetoric targeted at journalists because they incite their supporters to either physically or verbally assault journalists. In recent years, the GPU has observed and documented a disturbing trend of political rhetoric from political leaders, with others accusing journalists or certain media houses of unfavorable or biased coverage, a stark reminder of how the dictatorship of Yahya Jammeh gradually started its onslaught against the media. Over the last 5 years, a good number of physical and verbal assaults on journalists and media professionals recorded in more than 15 incidents were perpetrated by politicians and their supporters with immunity. To avoid these attacks on journalists, the GPU has been engaging politicians on an annual basis to discuss the safety of journalists covering and reporting on the activities of their political parties. The latest of these engagements was held just last month on 11th of March and attended by participants from the registered political parties and independent candidates. The GPU is urging politicians to lead by examples in promoting and protecting journalists from verbal attacks that are likely to expose them to further attacks physically. GPU President Mohammed Esba said, political party leaders have a responsibility to protect journalists from attacks and must not be seen to be instigators of verbal and physical attacks against journalists. The GPU also urged journalists to respect and uphold their code of conduct and to remain apolitical to avoid any form of bias or other unethical practices that may likely expose them to further risks. $222 million second phase rice distribution scheme at standstill. The fate of the second phase of Gambia government COVID-19 taxpayers rice distribution scheme, amounting to $222 million, is still unknown. This is more than 1 year after the completion of the first round of the distribution in February 2021. The Voice newspaper has been reliably informed that 9,334 poor and most vulnerable households in Central River region are yet to receive their supplies, whilst more than 2,000 metric tons of rice is yet to be delivered to the beneficiaries across the country. We are very concerned about the fate of our relief supply that's supposed to be delivered since April 2021. We received our first consignment in February 2021 and the second consignment should follow in April, but up to date, no grain of rice is received. Ibrahim Mane, a beneficiary of government rice distribution scheme, disclosed. He added, since last year, we have been following the supplies through the Ministry of Trade, Agriculture, WFP, and NDMA, but we are not getting any positive response from either of them. We were told that these supplies were brought by the taxpayers, meant to help the poor and the most vulnerable people across the country, that should have been supplied since April 2021. But I can inform you that up to date, no supply has arrived. Before we take a leave of you, let's take a look at today's top stories. New VP and CDS rumors quashed. Classroom shortage hits UTJ as Gambia College begins exams. NAMS urged not to sell dignity to Barrow. GPU condemns verbal attack on journalist Pandiri Toure. $222 million second phase rice distribution scheme at standstill. That's all we have for you for the day. Thank you for watching. Do stay tuned.